You thought I'd leave you without some counter programming to Presidents Musk and Trump's Hannity interview? Welcome to Popok Live. Let's get into it at the intersection of law and politics. Let's start with the Department of Justice. Just as the Trump administration is already failing, is already circling the drain of history, so too is the Department of Justice, which makes perfect sense because Donald Trump, as the unitary executive branch, believes that he is the Attorney General. He believes that he is the Department of Justice. In fact, he just ruled today in an executive order that he alone, along with his Attorney General, what's her name, Pam Bondi, is the only one who can express the opinion about law and what the law is in America. Obviously, Donald Trump fell asleep during constitutional history to learn what Article 3 judges are supposed to do. It's judges that interpret the law. Article 1, Congress makes the law. Article 2, executive branch executes on the law. And Article 3, judges interpret the law. That's how the three co-equal branches of government are supposed to work. But to Donald Trump, he has an opinion about the law that's equal to or greater than the opinion of courts. It's only going to get him in trouble. He's only going to be found in contempt. He's already got 20 different injunctions against him. And I'm going to talk about this latest attempt to start flouting and thumbing their nose from the Trump administration side at federal judges and where it will likely lead and what federal judges can do about it. What can prosecutors do about it? They're under attack, right? The jailers have become the jailed. The prosecutors are under attack. It's gotten so bad that right after Donald Trump appointed to be the District of Columbia federal prosecutor, the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, the main prosecutor for public safety in the place where the insurrection happened, he chose Ed Martin. You may remember Ed Martin defended a number of the insurrectionists, including those who used the flagpole to beat law enforcement. That guy, he got a promotion to be the U.S. attorney. And Denise Chung, one of the career prosecutors for over 25 years, head of the criminal division, had enough and said, I got an oath of office. And she did it right on the precipice, almost the same day, same hour, as over 100 federal prosecutors, including Jack Smith, came out against the Trump administration with an open letter to the career prosecutors, telling them to hang in there, telling them they swore an oath, telling them they need to protect democracy and the rule of law from their position. I'll talk about the open letter. I'll talk about Denise Chung and her profile and courage. Now we'll turn to Elon Musk, or President Elon Musk, I should call him. Now, we thought he was the head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, but apparently he's not. Either that, or Donald Trump's administration just lied to Judge Chutkan, a federal judge, about Musk. Now, we all know Musk is wielding power here, that he's taken a sledgehammer to the federal agencies and cabinet positions and workers and funding. But they just told Judge Chutkan that he's just a special advisor to the president, that he doesn't actually even work in DOGE or with DOGE. Who's telling the truth? Who's lying? And why are they giving an interview on Hannity tonight? And why is little buddy sitting on the other guy's lap? And which one's the little buddy? I thought it was bizarre that Donald Trump would allow Elon Musk to answer questions from the Oval Office during a press conference. When have we ever seen that before? That's a zero. And now they're doing a joint interview. There's a new ruling that Judge Chutkan just came out with as we're going on the air. And I'll try to interpret it for you because I know a lot of the mainstream media is getting it wrong. Yes, she denied the temporary restraining order, allowing Elon Musk to temporarily keep his position. But it doesn't mean he can continue to access information because Elon Musk is subject to other injunctions by other courts. But it does mean that the 14 states that have a case in front of Judge Chutkan are going to have to go to the end of the case and get to the merits of the case to have Elon Musk declared to be unconstitutionally appointed and to get him removed from government. I'll talk about the different cases that are out there and why I think mainstream media is misreporting what just happened with Judge Chutkan. Speaking of Musk, he just fired the guy that has no power, the guy that Trump administration says, he's just an advisor. We can't help it if Trump listens to him, something like that. Well, he just had about 200 people fired from the Food and Drug Administration, including most of those people who were investigating his Neuralink company. I mean, this is Elon Musk's wet dream. He never in his wild imagination thought he could buy a president for $200 million. I mean, he was going to try and then eliminate all the regulators that have been a thorn in his side and a stone in his shoe. Oh my God. Seriously. And so he has this company called Neuralink, which does brain implants to try to help blindness, paralysis, help people use devices by thought, electronic devices by just thinking about it. I get it. It's a laudable, I guess, ideal. But who signed up for not having that regulated? Who signed up for having brain implants without the Food and Drug Administration and its scientists taking a look at it? Let me put it this way. If you were on your deathbed and Elon Musk came into the room and a scientist from the FDA or Dr. Fauci, and you had to give one of them your proxy as to whether to pull the plug, who would you give your proxy to? Think about that. And so the FDA, this is just Elon Musk getting rid of all the regulators, including the FDA regulators, so he can bring that Neuralink device to market without any oversight whatsoever. And then we've got the existential crisis that seems to be happening on a daily basis of the Department of Justice being currently led. I don't even think it's being led by Pam Bondi. I think it's currently being led by Emile Bove, whose claim to fame used to be he was an unknown criminal defense lawyer in New York that hooked up with Todd Blanche, who's going through a confirmation process to be the number 2 lawyer. Emile Bove is now the acting number 2 lawyer while Todd Blanche goes through the confirmation process. And he's the Darth Vader, right? He's the angel of death for the Trump administration. He's the one that sends out all the crappy letters telling people you're fired. Career member of the Department of Justice, career prosecutor, laudable record, unblemished record of service to the United States. Thank you for your service. There's the door. Hollowing out all of these departments. That's Emile Bove. And now he stepped in it. Related to Mayor Adams in New York, because he cut a public unholy deal with Mayor Adams, where he said, you know what? You know that indictment that the Biden administration and the Southern District and Eastern District of New York prosecutors brought against you? Forget all that. Just play ball with us. Dismantle New York as a sanctuary city. Do whatever Tom Homan, the immigration wall czar, says for you to do, and we'll keep the indictment in our back pocket. We'll dismiss it without prejudice, but we'll bring it right back if you don't play ball. And that led to a dozen or so prosecutors to quit, led by Danielle Sassoon, a arch-conservative right-wing Federalist Society shining star who couldn't take it anymore, and the violation of our oath to dismiss and seek the dismissal of the Adams indictment as ordered by Emile Bove, as ordered by Donald Trump. And so she quit in a 9-page letter, which I'll talk about, and things that were revealed there. You're here. You're already here. Take a minute, hit the subscribe button for the Midas Touch Network, and help me help you. Come over to the Legal AF YouTube channel, Legal AF MTN. You know where we got those initials from. Our brothers, the Midas Touch Network. Got great news. You see the news already? We just started advertising it. The Midas Touch Networks and the Midas Touch Brothers, we call it the Brothers Podcast, just hit number 1 in the country, beating Joe Rogan with 56 million downloads or plays. That's crazy. Those are crazy numbers. You know, I think we're still in the top 10 at Legal AF, but I mean, come on, give it up. Now, if you want to help build another pro-democracy channel that matters to you, show that it matters to you, come on over to Legal AF MTN and hit the subscribe button. Help me get to 500,000 in the next 2 weeks. We're really close. We're at 470 now. So close. Let's see if we can turn the odometer between today and our next Legal AF. That would be fantastic. So let's get into it. You know, this is why you're here. I appreciate it. We've done about a dozen of these Popok Lives. We're actually launching it as a full-blown podcast in about another month or so. I got some fancy photos taken. Some of them I use here to advertise. Somebody, I posted the photo today along with the announcement on Blue Sky. You can follow me on Blue Sky at MS Popok. And one of the brothers, who will remain nameless, said in my chat, this next season of The Golden Bachelor is going to be lit. I get the point. not a bachelor, as people know. I have a lovely wife and daughter, but it was funny and it made me laugh out loud. So let's get to what's going on with career prosecutors. I woke up this morning. I know it sounds like the start of The Sopranos, but I woke up this morning to an open letter by the hundreds of U.S. attorneys and people that worked in the Department of Justice. And some of them include somebody that I think you'll know. His name is Jack Smith, the former special counsel. Remember the one that we all thought was going to, that Trump thought he was going to go into hiding because they were going to put him in a gulag or something? Yeah, well, that didn't happen. Here's the open letter. I want to read it to you. I think it's that important in this moment in time. It's relatively short. It's signed today. And I think a lot of prosecutors were listening, including the prosecutor, Denise Chung, who just resigned as the criminal division head for the D.C. prosecutor's office, the Department of Justice office there, I think because of this kind of letter. And this also follows on Danielle Sassoon, the Manhattan Southern District, New York prosecutor, also resigning rather than violate her oath. And so it's against that backdrop that this open letter came out. Here's the letter. Let me read it to you. Like you, each of us devoted years of our professional lives to pursuing justice on behalf of the American people. Although we dutifully carried out the lawful enforcement priorities of the executive branch, irrespective of who headed it, the oath we swore was to the Constitution, not to the President, Attorney General, or any other individual. Our obligations didn't stop at the oath we took to support and defend the Constitution. They included upholding a set of values that have guided the United States Department of Justice for decades. These values are ingrained in the department's DNA, as exemplified by the principles of federal prosecution. That's an actual book, a manual, which were written to ensure federal prosecutors exercise their tremendous power fairly, without regard to partisan politics and furtherance of the rule of law. As prosecutors, we were rightly prohibited from making criminal charging decisions based on someone's political association, activities, or beliefs, or because of our personal feelings about them. We knew it was impermissible to treat a defendant more leniently just because they were powerful or well-connected, or more harshly because they were not. We knew these values were more than just requirements in a manual. They were foundational to a fair and just legal system, and upheld no matter who was president. Against this backdrop, we have watched with alarm as these values have been tested by recent actions of the department's leadership. That means the Trump leadership. Some of you have been ordered to make charging decisions based expressly on considerations other than the facts in the law, including to serve solely political purposes. They're even talking about eliminating the public integrity section created in the wake of Watergate scandal and whose vital work is intended to protect the public from government corruption. Several of you have resigned, and others are wondering what will happen to the department we served and revered. Now, this next part is in all bold. Direct message from the Jack Smiths of the world to those who are still within the Department of Justice as career prosecutors. To all of you, we communicate this. We salute and admire the courage many of you have already exhibited, and that will guide all of you as you continue to serve the interest of justice. You've responded to ethical challenges of a type no public servant should ever be forced to confront with principle and conviction in the finest traditions of the department. We know that there will be more challenges ahead, and we have no doubt that those who continue to serve will uphold the department's values for the sake of the rule of law, just as you have always done. Please know that when you do, generations of former federal prosecutors are watching with pride and admiration and stand ready to support you in this honorable pursuit. We can't put this any other way. This is a message, it's not a message in a bottle. It is a declaration of war by former federal prosecutors against this Department of Justice. And right on cue, Denise Chung told Emile Beauvais, the angel of death for the Department of Justice now, Donald Trump's former and probably still criminal defense lawyer, that she would not open an investigation and seat a grand jury to go after Joe Biden and his energy department about funding that they made as part of their priorities and their policies and their funding decisions about clean energy. They're going to go claw back billions of dollars of clean energy money already paid to recipients because they don't like the policy, and they're going to call it a crime. Let's remember that Denise Chung, until today, was the leader of the criminal division, not the civil divisions of the Department of Justice, or even, at the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. And she got a highly unusual direction from Main Justice, mainly Emile Bove in Washington, interfering with her job as a prosecutor, interfering with the federal principles of prosecution, the Department of Justice manual, telling her to start an investigation. Talk about weaponization and lawfare. We're watching it in plain sight. She said no. She said, in 25 years, I've never been ordered to do such a thing, and I will not do such a thing. In particular, let me just read to you from her resignation letter. Here's what she said. And this, again, is eerily like the open letter that was just written by Jack Smith. I've been proud to serve at the U.S. Department of Justice and this office in D.C. for over 24 years. During my tenure, which has spanned over many, many different administrations, I have always been guided by the oath I took to support and defend the Constitution. When I started as an assistant U.S. attorney, I took an oath of office to support and defend the Constitution, and I've executed this duty faithfully during my tenure. I know that all of the AUSAs, those are the assistants, in this office continue to honor their oaths on a daily basis. Now, how many Denise Chungs are there? I've covered a lot of them on Popok Live. Inspector generals who have to get pulled, kicking and screaming, if you will, from their offices after they were unceremoniously and illegally fired. Other prosecutors, we're going to talk about it next towards the end of this podcast, about 7 at least in New York to object to the unholy deal struck by the same Emile Bove on behalf of the Trump administration with Mayor Adams in New York, a corruption scandal within a corruption scandal. And those prosecutors all had gumption, all had values, all had character, all swore an oath to the Constitution. And they said, no, we refuse, we resist, and they quit. And that's a good thing. Now, the ones that remain is what I'm worried about. We got to have some firewall against Donald Trump's instincts, against his fascist tendencies. If they all quit, which is what Donald Trump wants to do, and they're replaced by meat puppets, who's going to protect us over the next 4 years? And for those that are watching, and I have some friends that are Republicans. Yes, I have friends that are Republicans, but they've all come calling now. I got a text message from a friend of mine. He's in his 70s. He wasn't a Trump supporter. He's more of a Reagan Republican, but he voted for Trump. He said, I said, why did you vote for Trump? He said, because I think he'll bring moderation back, and he'll bring, we're too divisive. I said, you voted for Trump because you want us to be less divisive? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but okay. How's that working out for you? And I left him alone. I didn't give him I told you so in the first 4 weeks. I got a text yesterday from him. He said, this is not what I voted for, all in caps and exclamation marks. This is not the moderation I wanted, especially Vance chastising our allies in Germany and meeting with the German right-wing government and right-wing party. This is not what I want. Right. It's not what you want. You got to find the party that gets you the closest to your ideals, to your values. One of my co-anchors, Karen Freeman-Ignifilo, says it's like subways or mass transit. You know, the bus or the train's not going to get you right to your front door of your house, but you got to take the train that gets you closest to your values, to your morals, to your home. Right? And so now people are thinking, well, that bus and that train went in a totally different direction. Now, how do I get home? Home's always open. Home's always here. The Democratic Party is always here. But you have to punish and penalize the Trump administration and those around him from overreaching. Talk about a pendulum swing. The pendulum is wrapped around the axle. And now we move closer, one day closer on this show, to the midterms. And you have to punish everybody with an R next to their name. There's no other way to put it. I don't care if it's a dog catcher, a librarian, a school board, all the way up to the mayor, the governor. Yeah. Elected judges, anybody that you suspect of being an R, vote no. Vote no. And give the Democrats back the House and the Senate. If you give them back the House and the Senate, you'll get an impeached and convicted Donald Trump. How does that sound? This is already, the Democrats were in charge of the House. You'd already see articles of impeachment already being brought up. Right? And the silence, this deafening silence we hear from the do-nothing 119th Congress tells you everything you need to know. They're not going to impeach him. They're trodden. There's boot marks on their forehead and their face from Donald Trump and him walking over them. So you can't look to Congress to be a firewall and do their co-equal branch of government duties. Give the Democrats back. Now, let's talk about I'll flip down now to the, well, let me do it next. Let me do it when I come back from a break. I got to do a break. You know how it is. First of all, I need a glass of water. When we come back from the break, I want to talk about how Emil Bove and Pam Bondi have systematically dismantled any credibility, any character, any valor of the Department of Justice in just 4 weeks' time. It's incredible. 250 years in the making this country is, and these yahoos have destroyed any of the credibility of the Department of Justice overnight. And they're so ballsy about it, announcing to the world that they were making a quid pro quo deal with Mayor Adams. Play ball with us and we'll dismiss your indictment. And if you don't dismantle all of the things we hate about immigration policy in New York, we're going to re-indict you. And that led to 7 different prosecutors all resigning. How are they going to run this government? They cannot run this government without career federal workers and officials being in their chairs. They can't fill them quick enough to run this government. And I know, I read Blue Sky. Everybody's worried in my chat about tonight. What about my Social Security check? I needed to make my mortgage or rent payment. I'll be homeless. What can we do about it? We're going to talk more about what we're going to do about it. But let me talk about how the ways to support Midas Touch Network, Michael Popok, Popok Live, and the rest. If you like the show, here's things you can do. Okay? Make it easy on you. Go over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel, Legal AF MTN, and hit the subscribe button and help us get to 500,000 and then 1 million in this next year. Really important. I curate the channel. We do 6 to 8 videos a day at that intersection of law and politics. We got some great new shows like Unprecedented with Dina Dahl, Court Accountability Action, Shan Wu. You're going to love that channel. Come on over there, help support that. Be in the first 1 million, as Midas Touch moves over 4 million on its odometer. That's one way. Second is support, of course, Legal AF, the YouTube channel. And Legal AF, the podcast, on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then I've got, and I want to make sure that everybody understands this. I used to be in private practice with a bunch of other people, but I couldn't really direct traffic the way I wanted to. I couldn't take the cases I wanted to take. I couldn't be involved in the cases that I wanted to take because of the nature of that practice. So I decided to form, finally, after a certain amount of time on this planet, I decided to form the Popok firm. The Popok firm dedicated to justice. Now, look, it's going to focus on people who have catastrophic, life-altering, world turned upside down events in their life where I can be of use. Now, I'm one person, so I've had to collaborate, of course, with a great group of plaintiffs' lawyers. They brand themselves as Big Auto, and they do auto, they do truck, they do car. We'll do all of that. Any kind of case that results, unfortunately, in some sort of death or dismemberment, we're going to be involved. But we also do constitutional law cases, employment cases, other type of things that happen to you in the workplace that matter, all through the Popok firm. So now I can finally do what I finally wanted to do, which is to help people and build on what we have done together here on Legal AF. And the best way to do it, the thing that touches your life the most, is the things I want to be involved with. So go to www.thepopokfirm.com and I'll make it easy on you. The 1-800 number is 1-877 Popok AF, 1-877 Popok AF. And as they say, operators are standing by. Free case evaluation, and you don't have to pay a dime unless we recover for you. Okay, let's take our first break with our pro-democracy sponsors. When we get back, we're going to talk about DOGE and Musk, the new order by Judge Chutkan, DOGE's attempts to dismantle the FDA and get us Neuralink brain implants in all Americans' brains, apparently. And then we'll talk about the Adams and the Trump scandal that's going on in New York when we're back at this break. Want to be the most interesting person at the party? With our next partner, Naked Wines, you can bring the best, most interesting wine from an independent winemaker with a truly unique story. Like I recently had a meet with a potential client with a reputation for being, difficult. But then I went to my Naked Wines box, pulled out a Napa Valley cab that she had never had or heard of before, and that icebreaker did the trick. This podcast is sponsored by Naked Wines. It's 2025. Do you still shop for wine like it's 2005? Naked Wines is a service that directly connects you to the world's finest independent winemakers, so you can get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. Use our code LegalAF for the code and password at nakedwines.com and get their incredible deal of 6 bottles for just $39.99. I recently enjoyed Naked Wine's bottle of W. Donaldson Sonoma Blanc de Blanc from their most recent shipment. I love cracking open a bottle of wine, putting away technology, and just being present in the moment with family and friends. How do they do it? Naked Wines connects winemakers and wine drinkers directly, allowing for vineyard to your door delivery at up to 60% off what you would pay in store. By cutting out the traditional retail middlemen, costs, and markups, winemakers can pass those savings on to you without skimping on quality. Plain and simple. The wine from Naked Wines is amazing. I've been rating the wine after I get it, and each shipment to me gets better and better. Naked Wines has been around for over 15 years and funds over 90 independent winemakers around the world. With no commitment or membership fees, you can enjoy Naked Wines hassle-free. And don't forget, you can pause or cancel at any time. So just because you got a trip coming up doesn't mean you can't enjoy Naked Wines. Now is the time to join the Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/legalaf, click enter voucher, and put in my code LegalAF for both the code and password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/legalAF and use the code and password LegalAF for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99. Oh, I just completed what could have been a logistical nightmare and grounds for a divorce in most states, moving my family, including a baby, wife, cars, dog, and 14,000 pounds of personal belongings 2,000 miles to our new home in 7 days, including driving our dog to the new home with the best man from my wedding. Without many months of planning to make this run easy and time efficient, this could have been an epic fail. Creating a trust and will is a very slow and time-consuming process, leaving you less time for more important tasks. Trust and will makes creating your will easy and time efficient, meaning you can focus on other important tasks. Get 10% off at trustandwill.com/legalaf. Trust and Will takes the scary out of the process, and its simple to use website and straightforward process makes it easy for me to recommend it to people close to me who have it all going on, except when it comes to their will or trust. And that's my gift to them for turning them on to Trust and Will. Peace of mind, knowing that they are taking care of a big part of their future planning and taking care of their loved ones. Each will or trust is state-specific, legally valid, and customized to your needs, like care wishes, nomination guardians, final arrangements, and power of attorney. Ensure your family and loved ones avoid lengthy, expensive legal proceedings, or the state deciding what happens to your assets. Their simple step-by-step process guides you from start to finish, one question at a time. Save loved ones time and stress by having all your documents in one place with bank-level encryption. And live customer support is available through phone, chat, and email, used by hundreds of thousands of families and counting. Uncomplicate the process with Trust and Will. Protect what matters most in minutes at trustandwill.com/legalaf and get 10% off plus free shipping. That's 10% off and free shipping at trustandwill.com/legalaf. And we are back. Let me dive into Judge Chutkan. The headline for most of the mainstream media is that Chutkan allows Musk to continue to access records. Wrong. There are other other temporary restraining orders that are out there that stop that. Judge Vargas in New York, following on the heels of Judge Engelmeyer in New York, has already stopped that. And there's about 2 or 3 other injunctions that are already in place, sort of overlapping, interconnected Venn diagram of injunctions. This one was more specific. 14 states came to Judge Chutkan, led by New Mexico, through their attorneys general, and said to Judge Chutkan last week, we need an emergency restraining order about 13 categories of things because Musk is about to interfere with our federal funding to the states, state programs, federal state partnership contracts. He's going to end contracts. He's going to fire employees that matter to us on the federal side, and he's going to create chaos. That's what he is. He's the agent of chaos. And also don't let him go into our information related to these various systems. Now, Musk is already blocked from going through Treasury, going through Social Security, going through some other systems as of right now. So I wasn't concerned about the informational component of the request. But the judge said in her hearing, and she's right, and this Judge Chutkan, as you remember, very fine judge, been on the bench for over 20 years, was a top federal trial lawyer before that, was the trial judge for the DC election interference case for Donald Trump. And she said, I got an irreparable harm problem. In order for you to get a temporary restraining order from me, you've got to show me irreparable harm. Otherwise, we're just going to go to the end of the case and I'll just give you my ruling, but we can wait a month or two. You got to show me why you can't wait a month or two and why you need a restraining order, which is a very extraordinary relief. We call it an inherent authority or equitable relief from a judge. And try as they might, frankly, the attorneys general didn't do a very good job of showing irreparable harm. It was a lot of, well, if Musk does this and if Musk does that, and it could, it may. And the judge is like, I'm not here about ifs, coulds, and mays. Tell me which state programs have been directly impacted right now and what the impact is and the harm, and I'll give you the injunction, a restraining order. But without it, I can't. Doesn't mean, again, just to separate. It's complicated. It's complicated in law school. It's complicated in practice. So let me explain it. When you go to court, not every case, most cases you don't ask for an injunction. Most cases, you go in, you file your complaint, you make an argument, you ask the judge for something or the jury for something. I want money. I was damaged. Somebody breached. Or I need you to declare something, judge, declare my rights about a contract, about a statute, about land, about real estate, about you fill in the blank. Occasionally, and I probably 10% of my cases in my career, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of cases, have ended up in court on a temporary restraining order or an injunction. Because if you don't stop this thing from happening, you can't fix it later. You can't put the toothpaste back in the jar. Like election law. You got to stop the election from happening or the vote from happening or the mail-in ballot from happening because you can't really fix it later. Things like that. So just because you don't have grounds for a temporary restraining order or preliminary injunction, that's 99.9% of cases. Doesn't mean you're not going to win your case. And you can lose temporary restraining orders and preliminary injunctions and win the case. I've done that. I've won the TRO, which is the first level injunction. I've won the preliminary injunction, and then I've lost the case. It happens. There's an old joke about trial lawyers. If you have never lost a trial, you haven't tried enough cases. And I've won plenty of cases I should have lost, and I've lost some that I should have won. And that's just the nature of it. So you've got the judge saying, I don't see your irreparable harm, and that's a threshold issue when it comes to an injunction. But, wink, wink, I see that you may win on the substance of your case, what we call the merits of your case, because who is this Elon Musk? Who appointed him? He wasn't properly confirmed by the Senate, and look at the power that he's wielding. She also chastised the Trump administration, the Department of Justice. You're going to be hearing that lead in a lot on Legal AF and on the Midas Touch Network and here on Popok Live, because she said, you basically lied to me. Because they put up an affidavit, a sworn statement under oath that they filed in court, in which they had this personnel director tell the judge that Elon Musk has no formal power. He's not even in the Department of Justice. He doesn't run the Department of Justice. And I'm sorry, I keep saying Department of Justice. See what happens on live? Stays in the live. He doesn't run the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. He's not in the DOGE. DOGE isn't making decisions about personnel. The judge says, stop. Even in the executive order setting up DOGE, it says that DOGE is making personnel decisions. And even though he's a special advisor, it's obvious that he is running DOGE, even if he's not the quote unquote administrator of DOGE. And the judge says, and I also counsel the attorneys for the defense, that's the U.S. government, that's the Department of Justice, that you have a duty to tell the truth to the court. That's where we are right now. Judges don't believe or trust and find completely not credible the Trump Department of Justice. And they should. They should not accept anything that they say. So the judge ruled, I'm not going to give you the TRO, but by tomorrow, I mean, literally tomorrow at 5:00, you, attorneys general, get together with the other side. Tell me if you're going to continue to pursue this injunction path. And the implied line in there is don't. I'm not going to give you the injunction. But that doesn't mean you're not going to win on the merits or the substance of the case. So maybe you want to combine the injunction with merits, and let's just get to a permanent injunction. See, a permanent injunction happens at the end of a case. You don't have to worry about irreparable harm. You can just enjoin them because you won the case. So that's what she's signaling. And I think that's where it's going to go. And if I'm the attorneys general led by New Mexico, I would say, let's discretion is the better part of valor. Let's drop the injunction and go to merits. And I'll report on that here on Legal AF tomorrow. But that's where I think this is going to end up. Now, let me move on. How are we doing with the counter programming on Fox? Is anything going on over there? We're going to do the puppy or kitten bowl again. If they do one more of these lame circling the drain interviews where I think, just to be candid, I think Trump needs Elon Musk to participate in these interviews because he can't put a sentence together. Have you seen this guy? How fatigued he looks playing golf, not even in Washington, while key elements of his administration are shot down? He can barely hold up the executive order book with his signature. See, I signed it. So he's got to have Musk there who can put a sentence together. Remember how much grief Kamala Harris got because she did an interview with Tim Walz? We had very little time. We didn't know that guy either. We wanted to meet. It was fine to meet both of them. They were like, oh, she can't put a sentence together. That's why she got Tim Walz there. Why is Elon Musk there? Why is he fielding questions from the Oval Office? When has that ever happened? And I'll answer it for you. Never. And after they had to file a piece of paper to try to save their case in front of Chutkan, in which they lied about the power that Elon Musk is wielding, you had Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary. By the way, whenever her lips move, she's lying. Whenever her lips move, she's lying. Got it? Got it. She comes out and says, Elon Musk is not a formal part of DOGE. He works in the White House. He's just an advisor. He's like Anita Dunn, the person that worked for Joe Biden. Really? Anita Dunn was getting rid of the U.S. aid, was putting it through a wood chipper? I don't think so. I love the gaslighting. It's just like any other special advisor. They're all the same. And then Donald Trump, he didn't get the memo at all. He says, I don't know what his title is. Elon Musk is a patriot. He's a patriot. If you do things for the U.S. and you're a patriot, you can't commit crime. I mean, this is the same day. Today is the same day when he was doing that Donald Trump was signing an executive order to declare that only he, as the president of the United States, and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi of all things, can state the official opinion of what law is. Wrong. Wrong. Survey says X. That is the judicial branch, Alex. What is the 3 co-equal branches of government? What is Article 3 judges? Yes. I mean, our constitutional republic, our rule of law, our delicate balance of checks and balances. It wasn't just lip service by the founding fathers and the framers. They meant it. And in order to do it, it's very simple. Article 1, Congress creates law, and it does some investigating and oversight. Article 2, President executes on those laws and has some constitutional powers about treaties and pardons and some other things. Article 3, judges interpret the law. And ever since 1807, in a case called Marbury versus Madison, written by the greatest of all Supreme Court justices, John Marshall, they interpret the law. Now, what happens if they interpret the law and Donald Trump thinks, well, that's your opinion, and I have my own opinion. I have an executive order. It says right here, I can form an opinion about a law. Now, what are you going to do about it? All right. So what do you do about it? What are federal judges going to do about it? I think quite a lot. Because we're getting close to the Trump administration flouting and being found in contempt related to orders. They haven't done it yet, but they're getting awful close to that third rail. I think federal judges find them in contempt. I think federal judges assign, it's rare, but they have power, inherent authority to appoint their own special prosecutors. Yeah, not the Department of Justice special prosecutors, the court special prosecutor to go after the executive branch that's being rogue. And then they can enforce it because they're not going to have the power of the federal marshals or the Bureau of Prisons. So I think they go and deputize the attorneys in the states, and they deputize as constables for them and marshals for them, like the National Guard under state control, governor control in blue states, things like that. They're going to have to create their own jail system, their own police force, law enforcement force, and their own prosecutors in order to keep Donald Trump in check. We'll see if we're going to see as they play chicken, who's going to win this. I think it's going to be the federal courts. I really do. And I think you're more likely to see Donald Trump hold off in jail than you will him refusing to enforce the laws as interpreted by the federal courts up to the United States Supreme Court. I want to turn briefly to this FDA Neuralink issue related to Elon Musk, as long as we're staying on Elon Musk. So Elon Musk has a lot of companies. We know him. NASA's basically delegated and outsourced their entire U.S. rocket program to Elon Musk. Satellites also. Cyber trucks, electric trucks, boring machines, ones that make holes in tunnels, and all that. And then he's got this other one called Neuralink. He wants to do brain implants. I'm already worried. Okay. And the good news is, until the Trump administration and RFK Jr. got in charge of our health, we didn't just allow any company to, for profit, put a brain implant in your head unless there was sufficient testing, and hopefully one that didn't actually abuse animals, where Neuralink was investigated for abuse of animals in their testing. Now, I get the laudatory capacity of this device. It'll bring blindness to people that are blind, apparently. Bring sight to the blindless. Let me try it again. Bring sight to the blind. It will help people use their thoughts to move devices. I get the value of it. I just don't want it implanted into my brain without FDA approval. And what did Elon Musk do as part of DOGE? Conveniently, fired 200 people in the Food and Drug Administration responsible for evaluating Neuralink, making us unsafe, making us less safe now than we were yesterday, because those same people were trained, highly trained professionals that were evaluating other drugs and devices in the pipeline that are now stalled because 200 people just hit the unemployment line. Right? That's why people are worried. Because as you hollow out all these departments, the pain does not fall equally in America. It's going to be the red states that are going to feel the pain of cuts in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, right? More red states got the Inflation Reduction Act money from Biden that Trump is trying to claw back now. 80% of that money went to red states. Not that it helped Kamala Harris, but those are the people that are going to have to make Donald Trump pay. So Elon Musk decides, I got a way to get Neuralink approved and I can start implanting brain chips in everybody's head. I'll get rid of the FDA regulators. He already got rid of the inspector general for the FDA, Florence Wong, been there for 30 years, and she was investigating Neuralink, and now she's gone. Because that's the first thing Donald Trump did. Get rid of all the watchdogs. Get rid of all the ethicists. Get rid of all the Department of Ethics. Get rid of the Public Integrity Unit or the Public Corruption Units. Get rid of any law that's against bribery or extortion or kleptocracy or anything like that. We're open for business. He also put a giant sign on the lawn of the White House. U.S. for sale. President for sale. That's what we're watching. So I'm going to continue on Popok Live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I have a Patreon. We have Legal AF Patreon. You can go there, get some exclusive content there as well. We got a brand new Legal AF YouTube channel. Can't do it without you, literally. It's growing by leaps and bounds. The brothers like to kid that it's a rocket ship, which is an inside joke that they say a lot outside, which is because, I don't know, we were like 2 months into the Midas Touch world. They had about 150 people, and I was one of them. And I said, I think this thing's amazing. I think it's going to be a rocket ship, and I want to be more involved. And they laughed and chuckled. Ha ha, Popok with your quips. Rocket ships, and now over 4 million subscribers later, right? Who saw it? Popok. So when we come back, I'm going to talk about the Eric Adams Trump administration Department of Justice scandal that's now engulfing the Trump administration and making every federal judge think that the Trump DOJ is full of shit. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And we're going to take a last break from our commercial sponsors. One last time. I set up a new firm. It's easy to remember. It's easy on the eyes. www.thepopokfirm.com. What's the phone number? 1-877-POPOK-AF. Catastrophic, life-altering, turn upside down events in your life, including car accident, auto accident. You know, I know people are like, Popok's an ambulance chaser? No. I'm here because I've been getting hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of contacts since I started Legal AF 5 years ago. And I can't handle or help all those people without putting together this type of firm with the support network I have with leading plaintiffs lawyers around the country working together with me called Big Auto. It's just a group of lawyers who are really skilled at recovery, billions and billions of dollars of recovery for them. And that's why I brought them to the table for you. PopokFirm.com and 1-877-POPOK-AF. Let's take another break, our last break of the evening from our commercial sponsors. Did you know I have a secret weapon? I know the mascot of every D1 college basketball team by heart, and that usually proves to be a great way to break the ice. Oh, so you're a blue hen or a violet or a Tar Heel, right? A secret weapon is a great asset to have in your back pocket. It helps you get ahead in life. That's how Mack Weldon thinks about clothing as a secret weapon. Timeless, classic style that's infused with performance fabrics and hidden details. Whether you're looking for light as air underwear, anti-odor tees, or sweaters with lightweight warmth, Mack Weldon has a full range of clothes that feel comfortable all day long and never go out of style. Like this time of year, I love and can't get enough of their warm knit collection. I think I have every piece. Their two-way puffer vest with a button-down shirt is my go-to most of the year. At a meeting, podcasting, or having dinner with my wife, the fit is superb and it's classic and fashion forward at the same time. Mack Weldon's two-way puffer, for example, is luxurious to the touch, yet reversible and water resistant on both sides. They're not flashy, just classic, always in style and made from the world's most comfortable performance materials. Mack Weldon clothes are designed to fit your style and the demands of modern life. They're the go-to choice for guys who want to look great without even trying. Their secret weapon products are amazing, like breathable underwear that keeps you cool, dry, and comfy all day, or crazy comfortable but elevated sweatpants. Get timeless looks with modern comfort from Mack Weldon. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 25% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code LegalAF. That's MackWeldon.com, promo code LegalAF. Long work weeks and busy weekends, month after month, they can leave you feeling and looking depleted. Prolon's program takes the guesswork out and equips you with a science-backed plan, making it a key tool for your health journey. Prolon's fasting mimicking diet is a revolutionary plant-based nutrition program that nourishes the body while making cells believe they're fasting. Researched and developed for decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by leading U.S. medical centers, Prolon helps support healthy blood sugar, enhanced skin appearance, fat loss, and improved energy and focus post-fast. It all starts with their 5-day program. Snacks, soups, and beverages designed to keep your body in a fasting state. No guesswork or planning required. 3 consecutive cycles of Prolon have been shown to reduce your biological age score by an average of 2.5 years and your waist circumference by 1.5 inches. Look, when I'm craving a real reset, Prolon is the only nutrition program that works for me. It's convenient, backed by Nobel-winning science, and it works. To help you kickstart a health plan that truly works, Prolon is offering Legal AF by Midas Touch listeners 15% off site-wide plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day nutrition program. Just visit prolonlife.com/legalaf. That's PROLONLIFE.com/legalaf to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/legalaf. How would you define your relationship with sleep? Are there challenges like trouble falling asleep or staying asleep? Would you say the quality of your sleep negatively impacts your life? Have you tried other sleep supplements but feel like nothing has worked? And here's the thing about sleep. It's the foundation of whole body health. When we sleep well, our minds and our bodies perform at their best. Good sleep is both mental and physical, and our daily performance depends on it. Proper sleep can also increase focus, boost energy, and improve your mood. That's why we're so excited to talk about Beam's Dream Powder, a science-backed healthy hot cocoa for sleep. This product has single-handedly changed the way I sleep for the better. This bedtime essential is so decadent, totally guilt-free, and available in delicious flavors like sea salt caramel, brownie batter, vanilla chai, and the Beam Dream Powder original flavor, cinnamon cocoa. Each serving is only 15 calories and 0 grams of sugar. We can say this with confidence. Better sleep has never tasted better. Other sleep aids can cause next-day grogginess, but Dream contains a powerful all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. Beam Dream is easy to add to your nighttime routine. Just mix Dream into hot water or milk froth and enjoy before bed. If you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder, get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/legalaf and use code legalaf at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/legalaf and use code legalaf for up to 40% off. Welcome back. Well, I think Donald Trump thought over the long President's Day weekend, the one where everybody protested him being president, that maybe the whole Eric Adams things would go away. It didn't. It got worse. 7 different prosecutors, including the heads of the Public Integrity and Corruption Unit in Washington, noisily resigned. And Danielle Sassoon wrote a 9-page letter. Let me tell you about resigning. From the Southern District of New York Prosecutor's Office. Her dream job, 38-year-old, talk about a rocket ship. She's a rock star in the Federalist right-wing conservative world. Orthodox Jewish, rightist of right-wing, clerk for Antonin Scalia on the United States Supreme Court. She should have been picked to be the U.S. attorney for Manhattan for Donald Trump instead of Jay Clayton. Jay Clayton isn't yet confirmed. Used to be Donald Trump's Securities and Exchange Commission head, had been a lawyer, golf buddy for Donald Trump. He'll do fine. But in the meantime, they elevated Danielle Sassoon. And the problem with it is that they then ordered her to dismiss the indictment against Eric Adams. Now, Eric Adams is the beleaguered mayor. I think he's still mayor. By the time this is up and we're live, he may not be mayor any longer. I'm going to check while we're recording. But he's the beleaguered mayor because he's alleged in his indictment to have taken bribes from the Turkish government to look the other way and have his building department and fire department look the other way and approve the certificate of occupancy to open up the Turkish consulate in time for the Turkish president and ambassador to arrive. And he took foreign donations as alleged in the indictment from Turkey, which is a no-no, a crime, and took luxury trip and travel from Turkey. And a number of people in his administration were indicted. Nobody thought it was an example of weaponization. I mean, the Department of Justice indicted a Democratic mayor in Adams, a Democratic senator in Menendez, a Democratic son of a president, Hunter Biden. Looked like they were being pretty even-handed, if you ask me. So they indict, and they indict a bunch of people around him and a bunch of cooperating witnesses. And then Eric Adams decides he's going to try to save his hide. So he decides to curry favor with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has his problems with New York. He's looking for a friend in New York. Eric Adams is looking for a friend in the White House for a pardon. We thought he was going to get pardoned for sure. Except Donald Trump needs Eric Adams for as long as he's still mayor. I'm not sure that's going to last much longer. He needs Eric Adams. Why? Because he needs him to dismantle the sanctuary city status for New York and stop having them be not compliant with Donald Trump's immigration ideals. And so Tom Homan puts Eric Adams on his lap during a not literally, but it looked like it, during a Fox and Friends interview. It says, Eric, if you don't do what I say you're going to do, we're going to come back and re-indict you. That was the quid pro quo. In fact, it was announced that Emile Bove, the Darth Vader / Angel of Death for the Department of Justice and Donald Trump, he wrote a letter instructing Danielle Sassoon in the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York, which almost never happens. You don't have Washington telling New York what to do, and telling her to dismiss it, not because there's no evidence, but because political expediency, because we need Eric Adams to play ball. In other words, he admitted to the quid pro quo, the big dummy. He didn't have to say anything. He could have just said, we decided to dismiss the indictment. Go dismiss the indictment. And she fired back in a 9-page letter and said, absolutely not over my dead body. And she said, it's unethical that you asked me to do it. Your quid pro quo and your bargain of hanging and dangling the indictment over Eric Adams' head in order for him to do your bidding is illegal, is unethical, and I won't do it. I swore an oath. Now, this, again, is a shining star in the Federalist Society, right-wing MAGA. Donald Trump, when he was asked, this is why I'm saying he's like out of it. He's like gassed during most of his press conferences. I think that's why he needs Elon Musk to hold him up. Teleprompter is not enough. When they reached him about her resignation, he says, no, I think she was fired. He or she was fired. Not even sure which. He or she was fired. She was going to be fired. No, she wasn't. She wanted the job as the U.S. attorney. She would have gotten it. She was the darling of MAGA and the right-wing Federalists. But she has principles. She has morals. She has convictions. She has what the former prosecutors in their open letters said is character. It's in her DNA to support justice and not a person. Support the Constitution and not a president. And that's why she resigned. But she's not the only one. The heads of the Public Integrity Unit in Washington resigned. 6 or 7 other prosecutors, senior people in the administration resigned. They finally got a guy, Ed Sullivan, for those old enough, not that one, who's a senior prosecutor in the office. He said, I'll do it. I'll file. You want me to file the motion to dismiss? I'll do it. Somebody's got to file it. I don't want to see any more decapitation of young U.S. assistant U.S. attorneys who are just trying to do their jobs. I'll do it. I'll file it. But that's not where this story ends. This story ends with Dale Ho, H-O, who's the judge, who was confirmed by one vote, who is a Biden appointee sitting in the Southern District of New York, where he formerly was a clerk, federal law clerk there, was the head of the Voting Rights Project for the American Civil Liberties Union. He was also a senior legal leader in the NAACP. You don't get any more dyed-in-the-wool Democrat liberal than this Judge Ho. And he's the one that's going to decide whether that indictment is going to get dismissed or not. And he's going to put, I believe, the Trump administration, Emil Bove and Ed Sullivan, put their feet to the fire and maybe other parts of their body to the fire. Why are you dismissing this case? Especially since Danielle Sassoon put a little ticking time bomb Easter egg inside of her letter. She said, not only do I not believe that the indictment should be dismissed, I believe there's more than enough evidence to convict, or I wouldn't have prosecuted. But we wanted to re-indict Eric Adams on new charges of lying to the FBI and obstructing justice by destroying evidence, and it was rejected by Emil Bove and the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi, right? And so that's in there. So Judge Ho's going to go, I understand this office was going to re-indict, right? It's called a superseding indictment. What changed your mind? We were ordered to by Main Justice. And now what can Ho do? What Ho can do is say, I'm not doing it. I'm going to appoint a special prosecutor to get to the bottom of this. This thing stinks to high heaven, as my mother would say. And I'm not going to rely on the Department of Justice because I think they're conflicted here. That's what I would do if I was Judge Ho. We're going to watch. It's coming up any day now on that particular hearing. Pam Bondi, speaking of out of it, she's so out of it that when they reached her about what's going on with Danielle Sassoon resigning, the shining star of the Republican Party and the Federalist Society, and why she did it, and what's going on in the Eric Adams, Emil Bove saga that's dragging down the Department of Justice, she said, I don't know. I'm in a different time zone. I'm in a different time zone. I don't think she understands how time and zones work. Somebody wrote, I think it was Ellie Honig, wrote in the column that does she not understand that when the event happens, it is happening at that moment, regardless of the time zone? It may be like It just matters, where the hands on your watch are. But the thing happened. She tried to argue, I don't know, time zone issue. Couldn't get the news. I don't really understand that. But this is, look, she's too smart by half. She's not ready for prime time. People continue to make fun of Kamala Harris for word salad. Well, how do you explain Pam Bondi as the Attorney General of the United States? Somebody please put it in comments tonight. How do you explain, how do you justify this nincompoop from being the Attorney General of the United States? The person that Donald Trump just wrote in an executive order is the only other person in America who can declare what law is. She said that recently too. I can tell this is a Pam Bondi special. She said recently, that almost like the opinion of the executive branch about what the law says and the opinion of the judicial branch are on equal footing. They're not. Constitutionally, they're not. So we're going to continue to follow it all. I'm glad you're here with me. We have fun, I think, for this hour-long program that we invented right after the election called Popok Live. Follow me here. I'm glad you're here. First of all kidding aside, humbled by the 300,000 to 500,000 people we get every episode, the 15,000 to 20,000 live, the people that write me comments and questions in Blue Sky at MS Popok. I'm overwhelmed by the support for the firm. Just to let you know as we conclude here, the Popok firm is already involved with 2 major cases in the country. And we've gotten over 300 to, I think it's almost 400 cases referred to us for evaluation. And I'm already representing, along with an amazing firm in this particular area, I'm already representing a family who tragically lost a loved one on the American Airlines flight that went down in the Potomac, hit by the Black Hawk helicopter. And that's one of the reasons, is one of the main reasons that I get up in the morning feeling like I'm doing God's work and being involved with those types of cases. We got another tragedy out in Oklahoma. We're helping a family there as well in a tractor trailer accident as well. So it's those kind of disasters, but it could also be, as I said, could be in the employment arena, civil rights arena, police brutality arena, you name it, constitutional violations in that way. We're going to be able to evaluate and get a lawyer on it. So until my next Popok Live, support our sponsors, help us grow the Legal AF YouTube channel, and see me on tomorrow night's midweek edition of Legal AF. This is Michael Popok reporting. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step